it matters, and what we're doing matters. And when the work you're doing is appreciated by a patient and they take the time out of their schedule to leave us a review, it's really important that we all be aware of it. And so it supports my team and makes them feel good. But also the next time that patient comes in, they're probably going to also remember and thank them. Again, thank them in person then. Like, thanks for giving us that review. It really meant a lot. Welcome to the Truth About Dentistry podcast. I am Dr. Peggy Bound, a successful solo dental practice owner in St. John, New Brunswick. After years of figuring out how I wanted to practice, I now run a fully digital clinic providing my own brand of dentistry on my own terms. It wasn't easy, and I'm still learning, but I know I have so much knowledge to share. This podcast is created to help inspire young dentists or anyone looking to transition to a more digital practice. I aim to give you actionable step-by-step strategies to help you navigate the modern dentistry landscape. If you're looking to become more digital, improve your skills, or even have a more profitable practice, then this podcast is for you. Now let's get started. Hello, my friends. It's so nice to be back. I'm going to be elaborating today on a topic that I did talk about in a previous episode. At the end of the episode, I talked about Google reviews. And so this episode is just going to dive deeper into Google reviews because it is something that does come up anytime I teach or I talk about to doctors about marketing. It's like one of those things that kind of keeps us up at night. We're afraid to put ourselves out there, be online, because what if we get a really bad Google review and that could just like tear us apart and it just impact the morale of the team and things like that. So I did talk about it in the last episode as really making sure that you understand it's a really important part of your marketing strategy and of, not to, again, shy away from it. And so if you want to check out that episode, make sure you do. However, I'm going to dive now into specifically what I do with Google reviews and just to kind of give you a little bit of help to help you realize, you can really repurpose these things. You can get a lot more mileage, if you will, out of a Google review than just like that person posting the Google review. And especially, of course, I'm talking about the good ones, but you can also learn things and do things with the bad ones that I bet you didn't know. So let's get started. So the first one is about once a month now. And I didn't realize, I don't know if I stumbled on this. No one taught me or no one suggested I do this, but I kind of stumbled on the fact that I received, like a couple really amazing Google reviews. And I was like, oh, I should, say thank you. So I did. And then Google reminds you, oh, listen, you also have like 29 other reviews. Would you like to also comment or reply to those? So I was like, oh, wow, I probably should, right? Because think about it, when you get a bad Google review, if you only reply to the bad ones and you don't reply to the good ones, it kind of makes you just look like, oh, you only care when someone gives you a bad one. I care all the time. In fact, I do want feedback. It's hard as it is to get sometimes. But it really shows that you're present and it shows that you're there and that you really care and you're appreciative. And anytime someone who maybe found you through Google review saw that you replied, they come in, you say, look, if you really had a great experience, would you mind giving us a Google review? We'd really appreciate it. We'd love to, share what we do with other people like you. And then they think back, yeah, look, and I remember when I was reading the Google reviews, Dr. Bound personally thanked everyone who gave her a review. It takes a little time. And I don't know, maybe you think I'm crazy, but I do not find it takes very much time at all. And I do customize each answer because, of course, each comment is a little different. So that makes a difference. The other thing is, though, when you have a bad one, again, you can be quite that same personality. You want to be that same person you were when you were responding. You want to be, courteous and respectful, and you want to show up in the same way so that the people read that eventually. Someone's going to come across it and read it, and they're like, look, she's trying to be reasonable. She's always reasonable. She always responds to her Google reviews. So laying that foundation is going to be super important in helping build up credibility and just respect and just that whole Google experience, which, again, a lot of people are using Google to decide whether or not they should come to your business, right? So that's number one. Just say thank you, be appreciative. Once a month, just put it in your calendar and just remind yourself to go in. And it doesn't take very long. Depends on how many Google reviews you get, right? If you only get 1 or 2, it's only going to take a few minutes. But everything helps and it all adds up. Number 2, when we do get a good Google review, especially like if it's just 5 stars, like if they just click the 5 stars, I don't always do that. But when a patient has left here and specifically, especially names some of my team in the Google review, I will always we either put it in our celebration channel, which is in our Slack, but also we'll put it in our group chat. So my team has Facebook Messenger. It's called the best team on the East Coast. I don't know who named it, but I think it's great. And so we all check that daily. We can't kind of help ourselves now. It's become a habit. And everybody gets to see it. Everybody gets to see and then everybody sort of supports one another. Like, oh my God, great job, Lori, or great job, Patricia, great job, Stefan. It shows that it matters. It matters. And what we're doing matters. And when the work you're doing is appreciated by a patient and they take the time out of their schedule to leave us a review, it's really important that we all be aware of it. And so it supports my team and makes them feel good. But also the next time that patient comes in, they're probably going to also remember and thank them. Again, thank them in person then. Thanks for giving us that review. It really meant a lot.
Do you want to become the modern dentist in your area? Our on-demand and live mentorship will help you stand out, attract your ideal patients, and build a niche-based practice. This A to Z training is for dentists and team who desire the digital workflows and skills to operate a thriving digital practice, helping you stand out in a crowded market. This course is the culmination of Dr. Bound's 20-plus years of experience in building a patient experience that patients will pay more for. Learn from our on-demand courses or receive a more customized experience with our mentorship program as we guide you through the curriculum. You can find out more from the link in the show notes. Or, if you aren't quite ready to take the plunge, you can also find the link to our freebie consult photography guide, which will help you get the right shot on the first attempt. Now back to the episode.
So the next one is to leverage the presence, that valuable, that authentic marketing, if you will, can be used and repurposed in other ways. So it can be put on your website, right? Now, that's not going to be something you're going to update super often. It's a little harder. Having a few of the reviews on your website helps, but generally they're going to go and check Google reviews anyway. Another place that I will commonly put it is I have a template in Canva, and if I haven't heard me talk about Canva, you'll hear it over and over. We have a template in Canva, and it's like testimonial, and it's got 5 stars, and then we just plunk the review into the Canva template, and then we post it. So we'll post it on the main feed, or we'll post it in the stories. And by doing that, again, it's just like when they're scrolling through my feed and they're seeing my account for the first time, they're like, oh, look, she's even put some of the testimonials in there. It just gives a little bit more, one less place that they have to look. Again, it's potentially not as authentic as really looking at the Google reviews, right? Everybody really should always check real Google reviews because anybody can fabricate a review by posting it. I get that, but generally most people won't. So it's just a nice place, and I'll put there could be a cover and it could be a reel, or it'll be in the story. And then what you can do is I have this little badge in my highlights, which is little circles across the top of the feed for Instagram, and I'll have one that says reviews. So I'll sort of save all of them in there. So again, if someone's looking back and I don't have a review on my site recently, then they can go to the reviews and they can read a whole bunch of reviews without actually having to, again, go to Google. Okay, I have 2 last things to share. The second last one, I guess, is that we are going to get bad Google reviews. It's okay. Yes, it sucks. It hurts. You get upset. You can go and blame. You can be mad at yourself. You can be mad at the patient. Often we're mad at the patient because we feel we've been wrongly accused, right, of something that we didn't do. They don't relay the story right. And now the whole public thinks that I did something that I didn't do. Well, imagine being an actor or someone who's famous who gets those kinds of reports all the time. That just happens all the time. You're not special by getting, I hate to break it to you, but you're not special by getting a bad Google review. In fact, you're just normal. So getting one just reminds you that, you know what, you're not going to please everyone. It's okay. So get that in your head first. The next thing, though, to think about is what did they actually say in there? Was it truly a complete fabrication of the truth and they just want to hurt you? Generally, it's not. Generally, it's about a patient that did want to be heard and they felt like they weren't heard, and now somehow they need this as a platform to do that. They may be vindictive. Yes, they may not be a nice person. Maybe there was another way they could have done it, for sure, but they just wanted to be heard. So again, like I said at the beginning, responding to a Google review is really important. Privately contacting them to try to ask them to remove it if it was like, very bad. That has worked for us, to be honest, a few times, because it's very hard to remove them. But the other thing is if it's like a 3 out of 5 star or 4 out of 5 star, it's sort of good. You can sometimes really learn something from those. So again, maybe you did hit most of the marks, but you didn't quite hit the marks. So you don't really deserve 5 stars. I mean, most hotels don't get 5 stars, right? And they're pretty awesome. There's a lot of awesome hotels out there, but they don't get 5 stars. So what can we learn? What can we take from the review? And is there something in there that we can talk to our team about in the next team meeting that will allow us to be able to, just share that and grow and evolve? And that's how we get better as human beings as well, right? We have to take criticism, and that's all it is. It just happens to be out there for the public to see, so it's very uncomfortable, and I totally get that. But really, at the end of the day, it keeps us all very honest. So my last thing I want to share, and this is something that I didn't even know this, honestly, until Quincy told me about this as we were talking about this episode, is that we use a system called Weave. Now, Weave is incredible. We use it in lots of different ways in our practice, and we do talk about it a lot and how to integrate it in our digital courses that we do on demand. And what I did not know about it, though, is one of the things it does, I did know this, one of the things it does is that after a patient leaves, they receive a prompt to ask if they want to give a Google review. So let's say my team forgets to give the Google review or ask for the Google review, they will get a prompt. Now, if the patient will put in 3 or less stars, so anything from 3 or less, they will get question on whether they really want to post that publicly. And I'm like, what? That's so awesome, right? They get to think for a second. They get to take a deep breath and decide if they really want to put that out there, because anytime that makes them look bad too. Google makes sure that you identify who you are, unlike some of the other platforms. So by doing that, it's really important because it gives them a second to send it to us privately. And what Quincy told me is that a few patients have actually done that, where it did not make it to the public, like to out there online. It was sent to us privately. And that is just so respectful and so appreciated, and should be. And then that reception to the patient should be, really, thank you for doing that. We really appreciate you giving us this feedback, and we're so apologize that you did not have a great experience. So if you're interested in Weave, then you can DM us, or you can ask more questions, or take our course where we can go into how to integrate it so seamlessly in your workflow that will help you grow and be a better practice. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this podcast. And again, hopefully I inspired you in some way. If you feel that this was helpful, or you have any colleagues that you think would really maybe enjoy some of the content like this, we're going to be here every week. And I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and also share this little discovery of this new podcast with your friends and colleagues. If you do want to reach me, you can certainly find me through my social media channels, Dr. Peggy Bound or Peggy Bound Dentistry, or you can reach me on my email, peggy@smilesbybound.com.